Hello guys, it's me Simo Urahara, and in this video we will talk about how Hirako launched the Bankai in the novel, so that we will go back to dive in again into the types of the Bankai and why some Shinigami are easy for them to release Bankai and others not. First of all, in order to talk about Hirako's Bankai, we must mention the context in which Hirako released the Bankai and why he was forced to release the Bankai and against whom. So, most of people know that among the characters who were enemies of the Gute 13 in the novel were Tokinada and Hikone. And Tokinada caused several disturbances to Shinigami in several places using Hikone's abilities, especially using his Zanpakuto Ikemoku Domoi, so that a fight took place between Hikone and the Arankara in the Wikomondo, and also he sent Ora along with Yuki to capture Urahara Kizuki in the real world. Also there was a fight between Ikemoku Domoi and some of the Sternreicher who were captured by Mayuri, such as Candice and Mininas, and later Little Toe and Giselle joined them. And in this fight exactly Hirako was present, so that Ikemoku Domoi will generate a huge numbers of white monsters in the level of Adyukas. Those monsters will be confronted by all, whether the Quincy's, including Giselle who used the zombie Bambita in the attack, so that as soon as Hirako saw her, he remembered what happened to him in the Quincy War, when Bambita caused him a serious blow and made him miss almost all the fights of that arc. And so, as the novel stated, Hirako was clearly disturbed when he saw Bambita. But what matters to us in that fight are those white monsters that Ikemoku Domoi brought out, because it seems that they are the same ones that will later intercept Kyorako and the Shinigami who were with him, as well as some Arankara and Quincy's who were all heading to confront Tokinada. However, this time, those monsters were on the level of Gillian and Adyukas, and they were in a huge numbers, in tens of thousands. Also, Ikemoku Domoi wasn't there at the time. Therefore, those monsters, as the novel describes, were like a large tsunami wave, forming a barrier between everyone and their arrival at the castle where Tokinada is located. And so the problem wasn't in their power, no. As I said, they were at the level of Gillian and Adyukas. A Shinigami like Yumichika and Ikako are enough to deal with them, however the problem was in their numbers. We're talking about more than 10,000 monsters, and the most difficult thing is that they are able to reproduce quickly, and so how long will it take to exterminate them? So the alliance was in a difficult position. However, Zaraki, as usual, when he learned that these monsters are of a weak level and that the strongest are found inside the castle, he decided to dive into those monsters and pass through them, so that with a single stroke of Zaraki's sword, he removed waves of them from his path and tried to advance toward the castle. And here is where Hirako decided to follow Zaraki, and thus they passed through the path that Zaraki will open, while Hirako decided to stay and fight these monsters. And many wondered about Hirako's decision, how he wants to fight all these monsters alone. And among those who questioned about this were Neil, as well as Nanao, who told Hirako, what you want to do is in vain. Although you are a captain, you cannot handle these huge numbers of monsters. However, Kyorako told her to stop and spoke to Hirako, and told him, are you sure you want to do this? Hirako replied, it's not like I wouldn't succeed in such situation. And it seems that Kyorako meant in his sentence Hirako's Bankai, because it seems that Kyorako had an idea of what Hirako's Bankai is, while the novel mentions that Kinsey was the only one who knew Sakanades' true power, and I think they meant the Bankai. Thus, Hirako's own answer was moving in the same direction as Kyorako's question, so that the meaning of Hirako's answer was as follows: yes, my Bankai would be effective in this situation. And this is what Kyorako understood, and therefore he left the task to him and headed with everyone towards the castle. First, Hirako used the Shikai Sakanade on the monsters. The monsters had eyes, and thus he activated the Shikai's ability on them. Hirako manipulated directions, which made them lose control of their movements. However, the monsters had a kind of intelligence, which enabled them to know the ability of the Shikai, so that they closed their eyes and just moved using the sounds in order to communicate with each other, which made the Shikai's ability useless against those monsters. But Hirako manipulated the sound as well, causing the monsters to go into another state of confusion. However, Hirako in the first place did not intend to defeat these monsters with Shikai only, especially since they multiply with a new monster, so that it seemed as if these monsters wanted to get rid of the Shikai's ability by increasing their numbers. But Hirako used the Shikai to allow Kurako and the rest to get away so that he could unleash the Bankai. So that at the same moment Kurako spoke to Nanao and told her that Hirako's Bankai would be a type of Bankai similar to his Bankai. A Bankai doesn't differentiate between enemy and friend, so he mentioned the case of the 7th Kenpachi's Bankai as an example too. So what is Hirako's Bankai in his ability? I would like to start from Hirako's description of his Zanpakuto, when he said to Sakanade, "Your Shikai is for the strongest, and your Bankai is for sweeping away the weak soldiers." So it seems to me that since Sakanade's basic ability is to reverse things, it seems that Sakanade has reversed abilities even at the level of Shikai and Bankai. Shikai, for example, gives him the ability to activate the illusion through the sight and sound, but without any side effects. Even if the enemy is among several people, Sakanade is able to inflict damage on the enemy alone. And this is what Hirako did with both Bambita and even Aizen previously. But the Bankai's ability is something else. The Bankai's name is Sakashima Yukushima Happo Fusugari, and its basic ability is to manipulate the concept of enemy and friend, so that if Bankai hits a group of people, that group will change the concept of enemy and friends to it, so that they will see the ally as its enemy. Problem with the Bankai is that it doesn't differentiate between the enemy and the friend, meaning that if the battlefield is mixed, the effect of the Bankai will affect everyone, including Hirako's allies, and for that reason he was not able to launch the Bankai in the war that took place against the Quincy's. And it has a wide range, so when Hirako saw those large crowds of white monsters, he decided that the best way to fight them was to use the Bankai. The Bankai is wrapping Hirako with the petals of a flower in order to protect him from the effects of the Bankai. So all those white monsters started to eat each other until they killed themselves. And so guys, the Bankai's ability is terrifying, as you can see. That all Hirako has to do is launch the Bankai and hide inside the flower and wait for the end of the battle by fighting the enemy against each other. However, as I said, the Bankai has a bad side effects. It doesn't differentiate between friends and enemies, and it also seems that it may not work against strong people, and Hirako hinted at this by saying that people like Aizen and Yohabach, the Bankai may not work against them. In other words, the Bankai is for people of medium strength, and it only serves to clean up the battle as it happened in this fight that Hirako fought. In the end guys, it can be said that Hirako still has a chance to see his Bankai in the second core, if Kobo wants to give him a whole new fight where he can use the Bankai. So guys, tell me your opinion about the Bankai, about the fight that took place in the novel, and see you guys in my next video.